Hi guys, welcome to my movie recap channel. In today's video, we will be going through the 1988 horror and thriller film, Child's Play. Turn on subtitles and spoilers ahead, let's get started. In 1988, a criminal named Charles Lee Ray is chased through the grim streets of Southside Chicago. As he's about to reach his partner Eddie Caputo's car, he is shot by Mike Norris, a detective who has been tracking his crimes for some time. Seeing his partner fall, Eddie escapes and leaves Charles to his fate. Wounded and with no alternative, Charles breaks into a toy store trying to hide but is intercepted by Mike, who shoots him in the chest. With his last breaths, he swears revenge against Mike and Eddie and collapses against a pile of good guys' dolls. When he comes face to face with one of them, he performs a voodoo rite and transmutes his soul into one of the dolls. This causes a bolt of lightning to strike the store and explode it. Mike re-enters the store to corroborate that Charles is in fact dead. The next day, a birthday boy, Andy Barclay, prepares breakfast for his mother while watching a Good Guys doll commercial on television. Andy wakes his mother by bringing her breakfast in bed, but she prefers to make an excuse for not eating the treat and tells her son that he can open his presents. Andy is saddened to see that his mother couldn't buy him a Good Guy doll. Karen explains to Andy that she doesn't have enough money at the moment to buy it. Karen is told by her friend Maggie that a man is selling a Good Guy doll for half price on the street. They both run out onto the street to meet the man and try to bargain with him, but end up buying it for $50. After giving them the doll, the man says a friendly goodbye and they go back to the work. Upon returning, Karen's boss admonishes her for leaving during work hours and warns her that she will have to work nights to replace a sick coworker. Maggie offers to take care of Andy at night and Karen accepts. Arriving home, Andy rushes out to turn on the TV to watch Good Guys, but Karen gives him a new gift. Upon opening it, Andy is thrilled to finally have a Good Guys in his hands and hugs his mother. Later that night, Maggie takes care of Andy while he plays with his new doll. When Andy's doll, Chucky, hears on TV that Eddie Caputo is on the run, he turns his head to see more information. Maggie takes Andy and his doll to bed, but then panics because she finds Chucky watching TV again. Maggie scolds Andy for this, but he defends himself by saying he didn't do that. Before going to sleep, Andy tells Chucky that it was obvious that Maggie was going to get angry or scared if he went to watch TV again. While reading a book, Maggie feels something slip behind her and is startled. After hearing some more noises, she goes to see what's going on and gets a phone call from Karen to find out how everything is. After talking to her, Chucky throws a hammer in her face, causing her to fall out the window of the building and die. Arriving home, Karen sees the police at her house and goes to see what's going on. Karen runs to her son's room, and when she sees that he is well, she asks him about Maggie. Andy replies that she had an accident, and their conversation is interrupted by Mike Norris, who asks for time to talk alone. He tells her that Maggie was murdered and she begins to cry. Mike tells her that there are no clues other than simple footprints in a flower trail. He reassures her that her son is not a suspect, but when Andy goes to the kitchen to ask what happened, Mike asks Andy to show him the soles of his sneakers. Seeing that they are exactly the same, Karen sends her son back to bed and begins arguing with the cop, telling him that her son had nothing to do with what happened and asking him to leave her house. Andy sees flour on the sole of Chucky's slipper, so he runs to tell his mother and the policeman that Chucky was the one who murdered Maggie, but Karen sends him back to sleep. Later, she overhears Andy talking to someone and, upon entering his room, Andy replies that he was talking to Chucky, who introduced himself to him as Charles Lee Ray and confessed to Maggie's murder. Karen begins to scold him and starts to freak out about everything her son is saying. The next morning, when Karen takes Andy to school, he runs away as soon as she leaves, as Chucky had ordered him to do so. The two take a train to downtown Chicago and head for a dangerous neighborhood. Once there, Andy leaves Chucky in a seat and goes to pee in the snow. While he was distracted, Chucky breaks into Eddie Caputo's house and murders him with a gas weapon in the kitchen. Again, Andy is found at the scene of the crime and becomes even more suspicious than before. When the police question him, he again replies that Chucky, his good guy doll, was responsible for all of this. When he again responds that Chucky is responsible for the crime, he is declared mentally unstable and committed to a psychiatric hospital. At home, Karen tries to interrogate the doll, but he responds with generic phrases. Giving up, she takes the doll's box and some batteries fall out of it. Seeing the batteries on the floor, he deduces that Chucky was talking all this time without the batteries in place. He turns the box over and finds that the doll had the batteries included. Then she approaches Chucky in a panic and checks his batteries. When she sees that he was not wearing them, she throws him to the floor in fright and forces him to talk. Chucky responds with generic phrases and she threatens to set him on fire in the fireplace. Suddenly, the doll comes to life and begins to insult Karen. Both begin to struggle and fall to the ground. Chucky begins to attack her and escapes. Karen chases him, but he escapes in the elevator. Immediately, she takes a cab and goes to the police station to talk to Mike. Karen tells him everything that happened and shows him the wounds Chucky gave her. Although Mike is incredulous at this, he offers to help her. Karen tells him that she will go find the man who sold her doll and quickly leaves in the cab. Once there, she wanders the streets asking for the man until she finds him. She begins to ask him where he found the doll, but he tells her that she will have to give him something if she wants to know. She offers him money, but he replies that it is not enough and tries to abuse her. Fortunately, Mike arrives just in time and helps her. They both question the man, who admits to them that he took the doll from the collapsed toy store, and then they let him go. Mike is uncomfortable with what the man told him about the doll, so Karen begins to insistently ask him what the store has to do with everything that is happening. Mike answers that in that store, he himself killed a man named Charles Lee Ray. Hearing that name, Karen asks him if Charles didn't mention something else before he died. Mike tells her that he swore revenge against him and Eddie Caputo. Mike takes Karen back to his house. She tells him that Charles Lee Ray's soul lives inside the doll. Mike insists her to relax and go home, but Karen insists that Mike give her Charles's address. When he gives it to her, she warns him that Chucky will try to kill him, since Charles swore revenge against him. Mike returns to the police station to get Charles Lee Ray's file to resume the investigation, but is attacked in his car as soon as he leaves. The two struggle for a while until they have an accident. When Chucky is about to kill Mike, he shoots Chucky in the chest and he runs away. Karen and Mike meet at Charles Lee Ray's house, where they find the clues necessary to deduce how Charles was able to transmute his soul into the doll. Mike shows her a picture of John, a voodoo witch that Charles used to be friends with. At the same time, Chucky breaks into John's house, asking him why his new body is being harmed. He tries not to help him, since Chucky has used the ritual to do evil, but Chucky breaks his leg using a voodoo doll and tortures him until he gets the information. John tells him that he only has a short time to possess the body of the first person to whom he revealed his secret. After that, the spell will be irreversible, and he will be trapped inside the doll forever. Before leaving, Chucky plunges a knife into the voodoo doll, leaving John on the verge of death. Instantly, Mike and Karen arrive at John's house to find him dying. With his last breaths, John tells them that Chucky's heart is already vulnerable at this point, giving them the key to defeating him. He also warns them that they must hurry to find him, as he now has the secret to leaving the doll's body, Karen and Mike. At the hospital, Andy sees Chucky trying to break in and starts screaming for help. When the doctor goes to see what's going on, Andy tries to convince him that Chucky will try to kill him, but he ignores him and leaves. Chucky bursts into the hospital and begins desperately searching for Andy. He manages to steal the keys to his room and breaks into it, but Andy manages to escape. The doctor tries to stop Andy and tries to take him to his room again, but Chucky violently kills him. Mike and Karen receive the news that the doctor at the psychiatric hospital was brutally murdered and that Andy escaped. Not knowing where he went, his mother remembers that she taught him that Andy should always return home if he was in trouble. Once at home, Andy tries to block the entrances to the house and locks himself in his bedroom closet. Meanwhile, an elderly couple sees Chucky pretending to be an ordinary doll in the elevator. Andy grabs a baseball bat to defend himself and hears Chucky come in through the chimney. Chucky starts chasing him around the house and ends up knocking him out with his own bat. Chucky begins to perform the possession ritual and the whole climate begins to change outside. About to possess him, Mike and Karen stop him. Immediately, they start to see that Andy is okay, but Chucky hurts Mike's leg and runs away. He gives Karen a gun and asks her to take good care of Andy while he tries to capture Chucky. While looking for him under the bed, Chucky hits him twice with a bat and knocks him out. As he's about to kill him, Karen shoots him in the leg and knocks him back. Chucky begins to chase her in a rage until Karen trips and falls to the ground. He begins to hit her, but Karen manages to throw him into the chimney and does everything she can to prevent him from escaping. Seeing that his mother tries to keep him inside, Andy is the one who sets him on fire, and when everything seemed to be over, Chucky comes out of the flames charred and ready to take revenge, and begins to chase them. Karen manages to shoot him in the head, and Chucky falls to the ground. She goes over to him to make sure he is dead and shoots him 2 more times. Just then, Mike's partner Jack arrives and sees the scene. Everyone tries to convince him of what happened, but Jack refuses to believe the story and carries Chucky's charred head to laugh at them. Suddenly, Chucky's headless body begins to strangle Jack through the ventilation duct. Karen helps him and Mike manages to connect a shot to his heart, ending the doll once and for all. Jack can't believe what just happened and reminds them that no one else would do it. We hope you enjoyed the recap. Be sure to like and subscribe and comment on what you would like to see next. We'll see you in the next one.